All right, in case you missed it, Notre Dame head football coach Marcus Freeman had a lot to say about the Georgia Bulldogs earlier this week, and I'm going to be breaking it all down. Of course, you can read all about this over on Dawg Post and everything else related to Georgia's big Sugar Bowl matchup against Notre Dame. But personally, I am a big fan of Marcus Freeman. I think he's one of the best head coaches in college football. He's young, he's got a defensive mind, and he's actually a little familiar with Georgia as he was the Cincinnati defensive coordinator when they played in the Peach Bowl a few years back. But he's got a really talented team. They're banged up a little bit, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit in this video, but just want to share some quotes that he had about Georgia. Of course, he started his press conference with some coach speak, right? He said, "We all know the challenge that lies ahead. Preparation will be very critical. They're a really good team, yada, yada, yada." So just saying all the right things early. And I do think that he believes them. He knows how good Georgia is. He knows the experience that Georgia has playing in these big games and what their defense presents as well, because he's a defensive guy himself, and he's got Al Golden, a defensive coordinator who knows what he's doing on his sideline as well. But he said you evaluate schematically what they've done all season. Talking about Gunnar Stockton, one of the questions he had about Georgia, obviously related to Gunnar, he said, "We've seen about 80-something plays. He can run their offense and does some things that are different." Of course, from Carson Beck. He said he extends plays. He's a good athlete. The thing I noticed most is that he's an ultra competitor. You can tell by the way he celebrates and how the way he finishes plays. He's a competitor. Yeah, and everyone knows he's a competitor after ending that SEC championship against Texas the way he did. I mean, he gets hit on that final play that he was in, eyes rolled the back of his head, and he still holds on to the football. And he played really, really hard, and you could tell that the team rallied around him. And I'm not saying anything, bad against Carson Beck, because that's their leader for most of the season, and he's led them to some big games and some big wins. But they definitely needed a jolt, and Gunnar Stockton gave it to him. And Marcus Freeman knows that. And I've said it all week long. This is a play caller's dream. If you're Mike Bobo, you have a chance to design plays that they haven't seen. Right? Marcus Freeman saying that, hey, we've got 80-something plays on him. Technically, that's right, but I mean, they're going to do some similar type of stuff, but if you're Mike Bobo and you've got weeks to prepare, you're going to go all out and try to design, the best plays possible that are not on tape. You have to give their defense something that they haven't seen yet, something they haven't been able to prepare for. It's hard to stop something that you haven't prepared for. So, again, a play caller's dream, and if you're Mike Bobo, you've got anything is on the table with Gunnar Stockton as far as how to make him a weapon, how to use his run game, how to get creative with the run game. And again, one of Notre Dame's best players, I always blank it, Riley Mills. He's a senior captain on the defensive line and a very, very good player, and he's going to be out. So maybe Georgia can have more success running the ball inside with him out, but they've got a bunch of dudes. It's not like it was Riley Mills and then a bunch of scrubs. They've got a lot of talent on that defense, smart players, instinctual players, guys that fly to the football, and they know exactly where they need to be. When I was watching that Indiana game, they were more physical, but they were also better coached, and these guys are where they need to be. They're not, getting fooled very often. So if you're Mike Bobo, you have to design stuff that they haven't seen, because if they've seen it, they know it's coming and they're going to be exactly where they need to be. I think they tackle well in the open field. So it's hard to scheme against Notre Dame because they are a veteran-led group defensively with a lot of good players who know exactly what they're doing and know exactly what to do in their scheme. So again, I think it's incredibly important that Mike puts something together for Gunnar that they have not seen before. And he's got a great opportunity to do that and show, hey, this is what I can do as a play caller. This is what I can do as far as designing plays and attacking a defense that we've seen on film, but they haven't seen a whole lot of Gunnar Stockton. And they're going to show some things that are similar to how they used him against Texas. But, I mean, you can throw out the Florida State film. But at the end of the day, they know that, hey, Gunnar's a good player, but he went on to say, which I'm not sure I agree with. He said, "I don't see it being tremendously different than what they've done all season. We'll prepare for anything." Well, you're going to be preparing for stuff that you haven't seen before. And it is different. I'm not sure he has the arm talent that Carson has. I'm not sure he's as accurate. And I know Carson has been inaccurate a lot this season. I get that. But he's also put the ball on the money that's been dropped time and time again. And Gunnar can zip it. I'm not saying his arm talent is not above average. It's well above average. The guy can absolutely spin it. And you saw it when he put that ball on Arian Smith in the second half. It was that third quarter. They needed to drive. And he put that ball right in his chest where he could not drop it. It was a pass that everyone catches because of the ball placement and the zip. It just kind of stuck to his jersey, right? So he does have arm talent, but we haven't seen him lead the team down 14 points, right? And make throw after throw when defenses know that he's going to throw, right? Because he's got to be able to run the football. That's what makes him different. That's what makes him special. And Mike has a chance to design something that they haven't seen. I do think that's an advantage for Georgia. He went on to talk about Riley Mills. Someone asked him about the injury. And again, if you're a Georgia fan who's still trying to figure out, who Notre Dame is, this guy was a veteran in the middle who got injured against Indiana, and unfortunately he's out for the rest of the season. But ideally, a healthy Notre Dame team is facing off against a healthy Georgia team. Georgia, they're starting quarterbacks out, right? I get that, but it does seem like they're getting healthier and healthier, where Notre Dame is the more banged up team, I would say. From the research I've done on Notre Dame, Georgia's still banged up. They're not 100% healthy, but guys, it feels like, are getting healthier compared to just getting hurt recently, whereas Notre Dame's had some guys, important players, get banged up kind of recently. Their running back, Jeremiah Love's one of the best in the country, even at 75, 80%. I don't think he's 100%, but he's still really good, but he's banged up as well. So they know that. And he said, you can't replace Riley Mills. Not only the production, but the leadership, the value he provided this team is tremendous. But you have to be able to replace the production and replace what he meant to our defense. He's capable. We have capable guys who will step up that we are confident in. So again, it's not this one guy and then everyone else. They have good players on the defensive line, and they've got quick, active players in the second level at linebacker, and they've got a really strong secondary that's going to make things really difficult for Gunnar Stockton and that Georgia offense through the air. They're going to have to take some shots vertically because I don't think they've got a guy who can run with Arian Smith. And again, it only takes one play for that guy to put 7 points on the board, right? You have to use his speed, whether you hand it to him a couple times, those reverse, those jet sweeps, even in the screen and short passing game. But you got to take a shot or two with him down the field because that double move can be deadly, especially if he's in single coverage and there's not help, down the field. So got to take those shots because speed matters and speed kills. And Arian Smith's got it, but the hands have got to be more consistent. I don't know if they can, but the opportunities still need to be there for him to make those big plays. And at the end of the day, you got to make them. And that's what it's going to come down to, I think, which team executes the game plan, which team wins the line of scrimmage, which team can establish a run game, right? I think both quarterbacks might have a tough time getting yards through the air just because of the level. I think they're both really good defensively or in the secondary. I think Georgia's got defensive backs that are going to limit explosive plays for the Notre Dame passing attack. And I still think it's a really tough matchup. Georgia's wide receivers going against their secondary. So things are going to be tough through the air for Gunnar, but he's talented enough and his arm is good enough to where he's going to make some throws. And I think we'll see more explosiveness from the Georgia offense than we will from the Notre Dame offense. And then he went on to talk about Jalen Walker. Before I forget, someone asked him about Jalen Walker, the 2024 Butkus Award winner, the third that Georgia's produced in the Kirby Smart era. And Marcus Freeman says he's at least one of, if not the best linebacker we've seen all year. He is a problem. He does really good things in the run and the pass game. He's physical. He will strike you. He's got good instincts. You can't run around him. You have to attack him. Of course, Jalen Walker made 58 tackles, 6.5 sacks this year, and has been one of the more productive and more versatile defenders, not only on Georgia's roster, but across the country, obviously. So if that guy is wreaking havoc in the backfield, it's going to be a long, long day for Riley Leonard and that Notre Dame running attack, because if they can't get things going on the ground, which is going to be tough, right? Ask Texas how tough it is to run on Georgia. So we'll see. If they don't get a running game going, I think could be a long, long night for Riley Leonard. And, you need a pass rush if you want to win a championship. I think in the fourth quarter in tight games, that pass rush shows up. Some teams have it, some teams don't. Georgia's got the guys, and they can get after the quarterback late in games. And maybe it comes down to that, where they've got to make a big throw, and you've got Damon Wilson and Michael Williams and Jalen Walker, and any of the several guys that can get after the quarterback. Chaz Chambliss wreaking havoc in the backfield. I think you could see a decent amount of that if Georgia finds a way to get up early in this game by 2 scores, and Notre Dame's trying to fight back in the second half. That's when I think Georgia's in a really, really good spot. If they're up double digits, obviously, in the second half, this is not a team you can really come back on, especially if they're running the ball. They're going to try to get that done. But just a few quotes that Marcus Freeman had to say about the Georgia Bulldogs this week. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I'll see you over on the website.